Chat, chat, I've been through it. I have been through it today. Oh my goodness. I am probably gonna swear a little bit in this stream because I'm stressed right now. Alright? Very stressed. Very, very stressed. Alright. Story time. So, I had the plan to do this today because I've got like 2 hours, maybe. No, I've got an hour. Damn. I would have had 2 hours if I wasn't locked out for like half an hour. Jeez. Yeah, I was locked out of the house. We've had builders basically, and what they did is they put some tiles so that the door didn't open. I have another door which I didn't have the key for, but that could open freely. But I didn't have the key for that, and so I was stuck. But I actually got the neighbour to help me move the tiles out of the way. Then I went in, and then he put them back for me. So that was great. Thank God for that. A half an hour of panicking for nothing. But we're glad, we're grateful. Also, I continue to play. I have continued to play the password game at school. Yes. I've realized the limit of where you can take it to school, and I got quite far. I absolutely fluked the chess notation. Didn't even use the website because, as I said last stream, it's blocked. The website's blocked. So, but I fluked it. I put what I thought it might be, and I got it right, and I felt like a god. And then the next time I got it wrong, and I felt like such an imbecile. But the limit, 100%, because YouTube is blocked, is when it says it needs a URL. Because every time I try to find one, I use search. There's nothing. It doesn't work. It's awful. Everything's blocked. Anyway, let's start off with Wordle because that's quite good. Right. Audio. Okay. Audio. Okay. Racer. Shame. Flake. What could it be? Plays. Something. Oh, hello. Oh, thank God. Alright. Hello. I'm doing this again. I think I've got like a little bit longer than I did last time. But, And I'm stressed. I was locked out of the house. So I wanted to start like half an hour ago, but I got myself locked out of the house. So anyway, what could it be? Um, hmm. How can it not have an E? Blacks. Oh. No. Oh, there's no C. Oh, oops. Maybe something like WK. Oh, what could it be? Blank, 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 blank. What? The only thing I can think of is blank and blank. That's not a word, surely. You know what? This isn't do wordle. That's right. Flank. That's not a word, is it? Alright, well, okay then. Flank it is. Flank, must include a special character. It must include a month of the year and Roman numeral. By the way, I'm like speedrunning this today because I want to get it done. So I've already done this. Current phase of the emoji is waxing crescent. Phase. Emoji being that. Right, what's the name of this country? Let's go. What does that say? Norway? It's Norwegian. Alright, if it's Norwegian, Denmark? Yeah. Alright. Next best move in the algebraic chess notation. So that's the king. No, yeah. So that's the king. Well, that's easy. Surely it's R G1. No? Rook to G1. That king is stuck. What's a better move? Queen. Alright, I guess Queen G1's better. That doesn't add up anymore. Pool. Bloody pool. Who cares about pool? Alright, FL plus V plus V plus I plus I. FL. Where's FL? Oh god. 114 plus. Ooh. Plus 23 plus 23 plus 53 plus 53. Let's take away 114, right? Because we no longer need that to be a capital because we've already got a capital over there. So that's alright. So now 52. So we need something that's 48 on the periodic table. CD. Yeah. Oh, 600. Never mind. CD. 48. We'll just do 40 and 8, shall we? 40 ZR. And 8. Okay. There we are. Alright. Now we copy our password. And we bold some letters. I don't get why after you copy it, after you paste the moon, it becomes bold. Can I unbold them? Oh, I can. Well, I don't actually think it affects it, does it? Okay, as soon as I bold this. I'm genuinely scared. Oh my god, I keep misclicking. What? There we are. Yeah. Alright. Bold these back up. I'm a pro at handling the fire now. Can you hear me? Yeah. Alright, cool. I was just worried for a minute. Last time I streamed this, it crashed, so I was kind of just worried. Password isn't strong enough. Boop, boop, boop. Password must contain just one of the following. Bold. 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 Does this need to be? No, okay. Good. Right. Pull. I don't remember. Did you say that we could do 6 at a time? I don't remember. 18-minute, 10-second long video. Surely that's fairly simple, right? 18 minutes, 20 seconds. There's got to be loads of 18-minute, 10-second videos, surely. Why is that 18 minutes, 26? 18 minutes and 10 seconds. $18-minute timer. Shall we just try that? Because there's bound to be one that's like 10 seconds over. I've muted desktop audio, right? Yeah, cool. Oh, it's 9 seconds. Alright. 18 minutes, 10 seconds. 11 seconds, maybe that's 10. Yes! Oh my god, that does say 18 minutes. You can't see because of my face cam. There, look. 18 minutes and 10 seconds. That's good. We want that. That's what we want. Alright. Copy link. Oh, I don't know if that's gonna be alright. Right, this better be okay. This better be worth it. Oh, thank God. I thought that didn't work for a minute. I was like, no. It definitely did. Alright, first of all the things are bolded. Ah, now we just have to sort out that. That's no longer... Oh. Damn. Why is my mouse no longer... Oh my god. My mouse was no longer control V. Oh my god. Panic mode struck in there. Jesus Christ. Okay, so we know that plus 40 plus 8. So we know that's 200. Now we've got to add H, hydrogen, which is 1, plus our periodic table. Let's just remind ourselves. So what's got to be in it. So we know that there's got to be a 1, there's got to be a K. Where's K? Where's K? K element. Potassium. There. Plus 19. Plus S, sodium, which is, no, sulfur, which is 16. Okay. Plus VV, which we know is 23, plus 23, plus 23, plus 53, plus 53. Oh, that's going to be too many. Equals 188. So we've got to do 18. AR. Is that going to work? No. Plus 18. 206? How does that work? Oh, plus 12, idiot. Oh, I can't add. Oh my god. 12 magnesium. Roman numerals. Damn. Just take away that. 4. Why is there a K there if it's not going to work? M. What's M? Roman numeral M. This isn't gonna work. Oh. We need another 18-minute, 10-second long video because that L. I can't even do that, can I? Nope. Okay. That's perfect. This game is stressful. Am I gonna spend my whole time trying to find an 18-minute, 10-second video that's suitable? That's so frustrating. Do you accept help? I accept help, yeah. At the moment, I'm trying to find an 18-minute, 10-second video that's valid because this one has L, which is 50, and that means this timesing to 35 isn't possible. It's a stressful experience. I'm stressed. Alright. Is this one? Oh, it is 10 seconds. Nice. Alright. So what do? Get rid of this one. Paste that one. Oh. That is. That is an 18-minute, 10-second long video. Ah, there we go. Alright, cool. I will accept help. Alright. So now everything's bolded. Alright. So the one's still there. So we've got 23. 23 plus 23 plus 53 plus 53. 23 plus 23 plus 53 plus 53. Okay. Alright. Plus 53 plus 53 plus MG. Let's just get rid of MG for now. Right, because that's not going to work. Plus 1 plus. What's U? Plain U. 92 plus oxygen, which I think is 16. No, 8. Very wrong. Oh no, it's O2, that's 16. Oxygen plus N. What's N? Plus 7. Which is 260. That's fab, isn't it? There's nothing I can really delete. How else can you make 35? 5 and 7. What are the factors of 35, Factors of 35. 1 and 35. There's not a 35 room anymore. That's it. 5 and 7. Alright. Wait, I wonder if... Wait, what changed? Oh! Okay, well that adds up to 200, so that's nice. But the Roman numerals don't... Let's just quickly do that then. 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 20, 25. There we are. 2 letters from the periodic table. Vowel needs to be bolded. And then now let's just see. Roman numerals can be X, 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 V. Sorry, I thought I just had a creak. Because 10. That doesn't multiply to 35. That doesn't. Okay, there was a creaking sound going on. X, 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 V. Are you sure? Because I don't. Okay. I'll take your word for it. Right. But then, what are we missing that doesn't? First of all, let's try and make 200. V is 23. 23 plus 1 plus say U was 92. Plus 92 plus N, which is 7 plus 8. 131 plus FE. FE, which is iron. Iron, which is 26. Plus 26, which is 57. And then we need to add 43. So TC. But that doesn't. I'm wondering if 5 times 5. No. Okay. There's a D Roman numeral D equals 500. Oh man. Oh, this is impossible. Can you change the... It wants it to be capital. No? Is that glitched? I think that's glitched, right? Video unavailable. Alright. Well, we'll take it. I haven't got this far. This is the furthest I've come. A sacrifice must be made. Pick 2 letters that I will no longer be able to use. Again. Alright. I say we do Z. What do we... I will no longer be able to use Z and... No longer, right? So that means anything anytime it's been used present is fine. It can no longer be used, though. I think that's how it is. I would say Z and X or Q. I think I'd use X. This might be a bad idea. What happened there? No. Oh, I didn't realise that's what I meant. What? No longer? That is stupid. That's what I thought. A sacrifice must be made. Pick 2 letters that you will no longer be able to use. Ugh. I didn't realize that's what it meant. So I would have had to pick a letter that I wasn't using and just not use it again. Oh, I'm gonna have to... Stupid. Alright. Well. Okay. BBYMY. Digits must add up to 25. I'm gonna have to find a new It's all gone badly. I don't even think this matters right now. This has all gone terribly. Where are we? Caribbean. That's not a place. Where is the Caribbean? Where is the Caribbean? Mexico. North America. I guess we'll just do this. To N. One of those, right? Oh, I reckon it was the Maldives. Damn. It wasn't Maldives. Okay. Is it any of the M's? No. Any of the L's? Nope. Any of the K's? Nope. It's one of them. Iraq, Ireland, Israel. Alright. Cool. Nope. Israel. Your pass must include the next best move. White to move. Right, king. Where's the king? King there. Is it Q? H7. Q X H7. The queen can take out. The queen can take. Is that the queen? That's the queen. If the queen goes there, king takes queen. Never mind. Alright. Can the king go diagonally? I think he can. Next best move. I wouldn't know. Okay. What is user website? We'll use an algorithm because I don't know. I mean, it could be. Knight moves out the way. I don't know. So where's each other's kings? row like that. Next row. Like that. Then like that. That's what I do too. Yeah. I kind of know chess, but I don't know like the algebraic thingies. Oh, no worries. Thanks for your support. I mean, I probably won't complete this stream, so I'll probably be back. QXF8. Ah, so I was kind of right. I mean, barely. I'm just clutching straws. What does a plus mean? I don't know what plus means. Get rid of 8. As well, we can get rid of that. Hello, Paul. Elements must add up to 200. V 23 plus 26 plus 92, 108. We need one for 108. 'All vowels must be bolded. All vowels must be bolded still. Okay. 25-minute timer. 29 seconds. Who's gonna be the one? Alright. 25-minute, 25 seconds. Oh, hey. Would you look at that? How long's this video? Oh, 29 seconds. So, actually, 25-minute, 30-second video is likely to. Yeah! Alright. Bold that. Bold that. Oh, there is a capital C. But, it probably doesn't matter. Bold. Beautiful. Did digits must add up. Take away 2, maybe? Yeah. Password to multiply. But the unavailable videos still gonna work. It does think it's 5 minutes and 30 seconds. So maybe it does have like a little leeway. Okay. 25-minute, 30-second timer. Is this the same video? Does it have a single capital C? It does. Okay, yeah. That video's not gonna do. It can't have a capital. I mean, could it? No, it can't have a capital C. Yeah, again, a capital C. Oh my goodness. Why does every video have a capital C in it? Get rid of your capital C's, man. I feel like this is impossible. I genuinely feel like, right. Can I set my own video URL? Create a URL. There you go. Create a URL. Next thing I think of is just going through my channel and hoping to find a 25-minute, 30-second long video, but that's going to be tough. I mean, that's 25 minutes. Could I? Is it looking for this? Does it know it needs a 25-minute? Because if not, right, let's just find a cool video. Right, this one is exactly 25 minutes. Yeah, okay. So we can just do this, right? And it's not going to be looking. Thing is, I don't think that changes the code as much as we wish it would, but we could try. Yeah, no, it's not gonna like it. What if I just do? What if I take out the? Keep looking, I guess. I mean, I don't know what to do other than that. Oh. Duration over 20 minutes. I wonder. How specific? 25 minutes, 30 seconds. Oh, don't stop. Jesus. Oh, dear. I've been streaming for like an hour. I need the duration to be over 20 minutes. I did have one idea, right? Which is silly. But I was thinking if we could find a 25-minute. This is from an upcoming video. Well, I say upcoming. A video that's going to take a long time to film. But if we can get an exact 25 minutes, 29 seconds. That is what it wanted. $25 minutes, 29 seconds. Let me just. I don't know if that will work. And I've not got too long to test it out. But if not, I think I'm giving up. I don't think this game is for me. But the only reason I've continued doing it, like, I'm not competitive. I don't care if I don't finish a game. The only reason I'm continuing doing this is because I like Neo.fun. And this game has so many elements that I genuinely think are really cool. I think this is really clever. Whoever came up with this game, claps, because, I mean, it's beautiful. think once we get past this, we're fine. I was told in the last stream there's 35 rules. 34, I don't know. But they're all gonna get so much harder, aren't they? I bet rule 35 is gonna be like, have it under 60 characters or something. Ridiculous. I feel like, what's the point of this if it's for nothing, right? So it's got to be for something. In the meantime, then, I suppose we should continue looking. Oh my god, that might be okay. Just as I was about to give up. Shit! Oh my god! The stress, the... Oh, you almost had a heart attack! Man. I almost had a major. The word of the day is flank. I didn't know what it meant. Holy crap, I just had a heart attack. Seriously, I thought I was about to start a pool. Man. Stressed out. Right. 23 plus. Iron. 26. Yep. 26 plus. TC. What did we say TC was? 43. Plus 43. Plus HS. Is that really? HS. Everything's. HS element. Hassium. What's Hassium's atomic number? Okay. Plus 108 plus I, which is like 50. I, which is 53 plus U, which is 92 plus, oh, this isn't looking that great, potassium. 364. Alright. That's beautiful. Let us get rid of FE, which was 26 plus we get rid of 95 HS? What's that to do with? Oh, okay, well, that's right. We can get rid of HS. HS, what's HS? Oh, we said HS was the one that was 108. Yikes. Yes, please. 187. Beautiful. Okay. I'm still on a heart attack. Right. 13. 13 AL. AL. Okay, alright, we've been through this. So we have to pick. This time we have to think about it differently. We have to pick 2 letters. We have to pick 2 letters that cannot be, that is not in here. A's in here. B's in here. C. C. It can't be in there. C. I don't think C's in it. I might get rid of C. Because I don't think that's that helpful. C. Is C in it at all? I don't see it. Oh, great. Well, we're back where we were originally. Can you spot a C in this password? Because I can't. I don't see it. So, I've said that twice. I'm looking for 2 letters in this password that are not in it. Is X is in it? Is Z in it? I feel like Z's a good one to get rid of. I feel like C and Z. Maybe. I'm shouting, I'm sorry. I don't see any C's or Z's. Brilliant. What the hell? If this like fucks it up, I'm done. Oh, sorry. Sorry for swearing. Oh, yeah. Right. If it screws it up, it's done. I'm done. Sacrifice. Okay, thank God. Password must contain twice as many italics characters as bold. Alright. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29. 29 bold, although we could get rid of that one. So 28 bold, we could get rid of that one. 27 bolds, get rid of that one. 26, get rid of that one. 25. Nice. Alright. 25 bolds. That's not even one, is it? 24 bolds. That's giving us 48 to play with. 48. Alright, so 48 characters have to be bolded. So, oh no, italic. So, wait, it doesn't say it has to be bold. It can only be italic, right? So I can do this. Alright, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. What? 14. 14. Damn it. I didn't mean to click that. Alright, well, I'm bold. A bold. U bold. E bold. Okay. We're still assuming that's still the same. 48. Okay, so 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22, 24, 24, 26, 26. 26, and we said 48, 26. Can that be italic? Apparently it can. 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35. 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48. Great. At least 30% of your password must be in the Windings font. What? What's the Windings font? Oh, wait. Is that the one that changes everything to symbols? Oh, man. Okay. Is that the one that changes everything to symbols? Like those weird symbols. Oh, it is as well. Okay. You. Okay. Here's what we do. We will copy password into that. We'll copy password into that. We'll change it all into one big font. Okay, so 30% of the password must be in Windings. 90. 30% of 90. I was about to say 30. Oh, wait, no. Oh, no. Oh, wait, no, at least. We have to just do 30, 91. What will we say? 91 times 0.7. 64 characters must be. No way. That's not 30%, is it? 27 characters is 30%. Thank you. Alright, I can't do maths right now. 0.3. Yeah, alright, thanks. Oh no, it's gonna be like really frustrating. If it asks me like what have I written, I have got it copied and pasted. Alright, I've got it copied onto a Word document. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20. 20 becomes Windings. This is painful. 20. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 Windings. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 becomes Windings. Must include this color as a hex. Right, light blue. Light blue at light blue as a hex. Oh, imagine. No? Oh, I should have done that. Red. Alright, we'll do red. Red as a hex. Okay. What is it? Ruby? Light red? Oh no. Light red as a hex. FFCC. Hashtag FFCCB. Oh my god. need something with bright, maybe the bright blue one. It's annoying because that bright blue is like my favorite color. That is like, that's a beautiful color. Cyan. Oh yeah, maybe it is. No. Okay. Aqua color. That is the same as. No. I need longer. Okay. O, F, F, F. Not turquoise. Do we have like an eyedropper tool? I can just screenshot, What color is that as a hex? What color are we saying this is? What other? All blue. Every blue color. Turquoise as a hex. I'm not allowed to see, am I? Never mind. It's not even that anyways. Okay. Turquoise as a hex. What else we got? Lime. Lime. Just tell me this isn't lime. Okay, good. What other color greens are there? Color green. What color green is that, eh? Hashtag BOFCE8. BOFCE. Google says that you can find out by color. Alright. Hopefully this doesn't. Oh wait, I wonder. Search images with Google. Let's just see if Google's right. 4, 5, FC1E. C1E. No? Okay. this the same? I think it's slightly more green. Alright, copy image. How would you say we find out this as a hex color? Does it say how to find out what color it is as a hex? Oh, it's 6 o'clock. Okay, let's just try something else. I'm like trying everything here. Doing so much right now. And how do we figure out what that is as a hex, eh? Alright. Web colors. This is stupid. Yellow as a hex. Alright. Gold as a hex. Alright, what rule is this? Rule 28. Password game rule 28. Oh, joy. I give up, man. I do. I do give up. I've tried for an hour and 20 minutes, plus an hour, plus like 40 minutes. Jesus, this is so stressful. Dark blue as I think that's too dark. What hex does it say? It's a hex. Random color as well. Cyan. I think I've ruined it. I think I've messed up. Cyan. Let's just check, but I'm pretty sure. Yeah, I've ruined it. Rando color. I've messed up bad, but that's okay. Alright, I give up. This is impossible. If I do give up. I don't think this game's for me. I've tried so hard. I've gone to rule 28, but I don't know what the hex for all these colours are, and I cannot be bothered anymore. It's okay. Don't worry. Nah, I give up. I'm gonna go. I've got to go. Um, I lie really. Yeah, I really want to complete this game, like really badly, and I've wanted to complete it for a month, and I've tried so hard. Like, how many times have I streamed this? I've streamed it like 3 times at least. Oh my god, yeah. And I've spent a fair bit of time playing it, like, off camera. Yeah, I've played it for an hour and a half, plus 45 minutes, plus an hour and 20. So, you know, I've done my fair share of it, and I've only gotten to rule 28. So that sucks. My nose is burnt, and I want to cry. Thanks very much for watching. Thanks the past author. Yeah, no, the pastor author. My bad. Oh, thanks. Um, yeah, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for helping me. I could stream it. I might stream it again. You never know. I'll probably wake up tomorrow in a much happier mood thinking, I want to try it again. But until then, I'm done for a bit. Thank you for watching the stream, and I'll see you if I do a next one. Bye.